Hello, this is Mad Hatter, and welcome to my item sorting world. This is literally just a world where I test item sorters. So you may recognize this one. This is my multi-item sorter, but today I'm going to show you a new style of sorter. So we're all familiar with the single item sorters that put one item per bulk chest. I have a line of them on this wall, and you can see there's one item for each. But now I have an item categorizer here. An item categorizer doesn't put one item in a chest. It puts one set of stackable items in a chest. So this will automatically sort these items into these chests without you needing to block slots. So my old item sorter here, you had to make sure you left one of each in the slots. This one does not need you to leave any such things. So you make a redstone chest. You can make an oak chest that has all your oak bits in it. You can make a spruce chest that has all your spruce bits in it. And so on and so forth. You can even mix, jungle and acacia. Or you can put all the types of stairs in one chest. It's all up to you. You get 54 items that you can put in one row or one set of double chests. And then you can label it however you want. This is one that I put together for myself, just as an example. To give you an idea of what it looks like when it's done. It's got a lot of redstone up here. Not terrifically difficult to build. It looks like a lot, but it is a lot of the same things repeated over and over again. And I have structure files that you can follow. Some of the information is not in the structure files, like the count of items you need where, how to put the filters in, all that stuff you'll have to watch the video for. But for the where to place blocks, I have that in the structure files. So let's jump over to another world and get started. Well, now we're in a world where we're going to actually try to build this as a tutorial. So what I'm going to show you here is the actual size of each slice. So this slice is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by 2. There's going to be 2 chests here. And these 2 sets of double chests are going to contain the items for this slice of the categorizer. Next to it, there is a different slice. It's the same size. It has the same 2 chests, but it's going to have a little bit of a different build. This is because when we're tiling, there is one spot where the 2 slices will interact if we don't build them slightly differently. Over here, we have an item elevator that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks long. And then we have a clock. This clock actually can go over here, but it got really confusing. So when I was laying out the blocks for counting, so I put the chest over there. I put the clock over here just for demonstration purposes. Now, if you notice, I'm going to put it up like this for you to take a screenshot. This is where you would put the armor stands in my Structura pack. And if you have used Structura before, it's pretty straightforward. If you have not, Structura is just a templating tool that I made. When you place down an armor stand, it'll show you a device that someone has made into a pack. This is a special pack. I made it in such a way that you get a full example build, which you can use just fine, or you get the ability to name tag them. So if I place this here and I use the name tag that was in that box, you get this sorter here. I put a default amount of chests here. These can go much higher or they can go much shorter. The redstone that you can't really adjust in height without some major engineering is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks above the top of your sorter. And I am including this chest in there. You can kind of twist or turn that chest, but it does need to be at that location. So I'm going to build this shorter, and I'm not going to use the structure of templates. That's for you. But this is an example that you can use for your own building. Now, if I wanted to get a different section of the setup, I can place a different armor stand, name tag it differently, and if I put it on these gold blocks, it lines up perfectly for this this particular world. You only need one elevator, so that's why in this chest I put one elevator name tag. And you'll see that the elevator comes up and it goes directly into that hopper. You, of course, need another hopper here to connect things up. And then the last one, the clock. The clock is a simple clock. It's got all the repeater ticks in here, so you don't need to memorize them. And then a torch and an observer. This is important. It makes it so it doesn't click. So this is what we're going to be building. Okay, to build this, you're going to need a bunch of chests and a bunch of hoppers. If you're building exactly as in the structure file, you'll need 26 and 20. You'll need half a stack of building blocks, about dropper, a glass, 8 redstone dust, 4 comparators, 6 redstone torches, 3 redstone repeaters, 3 observers, and a furnace for the main contraption. And the main contraption needs to be next to the attach. So this one, it will share its signal strength adjuster and needs to have a slightly different design next to it to allow it to tile. So that'll be covered later. This build I am going to do slightly different than the Structura, because I want to make it a little bit shorter. You can adjust any number of chests here, but for me, I'm going to do 3 tall, and it just makes it easier to build. If you do way tall, then you got a lot of jumping to do, you know. So we're going to put our chest down, put hoppers into the back of the chests, and then we're going to put a set of chests here to split up the items between our 2 rows so we get the most amount of storage in the smallest space. Then we're going to count out blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go 1, 2 in this direction. Place an observer that way. And then jump down. Place an observer up like this. Then you're going to have the pillar back up. Then we're going to place a redstone torch there. And then a hopper there. We're going to build this side first. So what we're going to do is put 2 temporary blocks. And then we're going to get a dropper, and then a hopper. We're going to put a dust on top. Where's our dust? And we're going to put 1 item in here. I'm just going to use one of my building blocks into it. Then we're going to grab a comparator. Put it there. And now we're going to grab 2 building blocks. And this is our 1 glass block here. Now we got a repeater. Solid block, dust. So next, what we're going to do is go above this. We're going to place a block there, a comparator facing this direction, block on top of the repeater, redstone torch so it powers that dust. So then your item should move into here. Now we're going to place a block with a torch on it, a torch there, and then 1, 2, 3 blocks, and then 1, 2, 3 redstone dust. let's put our hopper here first. And then our 1, 2, 3 redstone dust. It needs a thing to read out of, so it doesn't read the signal strength of that that block. Now we need our adjustment for the signal strength of our filter. So here's where we place our hopper. So we put 1, 2, 3 solid blocks down. We set this comparator into subtract mode, put a dust down, put another comparator there, and then I recommend a furnace. And I recommend 23 items in that furnace to get signal strength 2, but you can use like a cake with 1 slice left, or a chest with a bunch of items in it, or a cauldron, or a composter, whatever you really desire. Now we're going to come back down this hopper. We're going to place in an observer and a torch. It was just easier to get around before that observer and torch were there. So now we're going to start the item elevator. So first thing we're going to do is place a block there, a repeater into that block, a block, and a dust. Then we're going to place a block here, a dropper facing up, a hopper into that dropper, and we're going to place a hopper into this hopper, and then a hopper facing straight down. So now we're going to put a comparator, a block there, redstone torch, block, dropper up, block on top of the redstone torch, redstone dust, redstone repeater, dropper up. Now we're going to put 2 temporary blocks going out towards the next sorter, and a hopper into that temporary block, dropper facing this way, and then this is our blocker item chest. But before we put that down, it is easier to put the filter items in. So this is the 45 filter items. I do 11, 11, 11, and then 12. That way I can check it later if I need to. So we're going to put our chest with our programming items in. And we're going to put 1 blocker item in every single chest. And then your chest slot. And then you're going to replace these with the items you want to go into those chests there. I recommend about a half a stack. You can put in more. You can put up to a stack in each slot. You can put in less. But if you put in less and this is unloaded while it's running, you can lose 1 of each of these items each time it's unloaded. If you lose all of them, then the filter or the categorizer breaks, and you don't want the categorizer to break. The last thing we have to do is put a hopper into this chest, so that way the items can get back in, and this slice is done. So now this one has an extra piece of glass, no furnace, and that's about it. Oh, and 1 less comparator. So that it's 3 comparators instead of 4. So the same items on me. I'm going to do the same build process basically, and I'll show you exactly where it's different once we get up to that spot. But to start with, it's the same hoppers into chests, and then same double chest here, same counting out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Observer again, torch, observer facing that way. So now that you have this observer down, place 2 temporary blocks, and then your glass, your extra piece of glass, goes here. And this is so that you don't lock this hopper. Then we got to place our dropper and our hopper. This is me in the edit. I forgot to put an item in that hopper. Put an item in the hopper. It'll save you some time later. Back to the video. Then we're going to put 2 pieces of redstone dust this time, just like that. And our repeater, a block, glass, dust on top. Now we need to put a block there and a comparator, which I'm going to pick block from there, just like that. So this is the part that's different. You need an extra 2 blocks here, 1 solid, 1 glass, and then your toggle piece is out just a little bit further. So now we're going to place that again, that block again, put our hopper facing into it right away this time. Well, 2 mistakes in short order. Set this to subtract by right-clicking on it. I cover this later in the video too. Back again. Our comparator, our block, redstone torch, and then again, oops. If you get stuck like this, you can place this this observer at this point. It might make it easier to get around with a torch on it. Then you can jump up. We placed that at the end last time just because we were fighting to get a few items in. So this has a torch on it. That has a torch on it. And then again, we block, redstone dust down. And that's the bulk of our sorter done. Before we start on the elevator, remember to set this into subtract mode. It has to be in subtract mode or you'll be angry at yourself later. So now we're going to build the item elevator. That is mostly the same as the one next to it. In fact, it's exactly the same. So we built it before. You can just kind of pick block away. But remember this dispenser, or remember this dropper, and hopper goes into it. Hopper goes into here. And hopper goes straight down. At this point, you can put in your filter items. I did forget to put the subtract mode while recording this tutorial, so I feel you if you do it. These filter items won't stick if you don't put it in subtract mode. So now they're there. Redstone torch, block, dust, repeater. And then this is where we put our connection to either our overflow or our next pod. We put our chest in and our blocker items. And then dropper across and our hopper into that chest. So this is the slices. If you wanted to continue to build the same, build this thing bigger, we would grab and we would put 1 main next, and then 1 attach, and 1 main, and 1 attach, and so on and so forth. So that's all that is to it for our categorizer. Let's get on to our item elevator. So the item elevator, you're going to need a bunch of observers. This depends on how high you want to go. A bunch of droppers. This also depends on how high you want to go. A couple of building blocks. They do depend on how high you're going to go, but 2 rails, 1 torch, 1 comparator, and then a hopper for the top. The way we start this one is a block on the bottom, 2 observers, and then a block facing away from the observers. We do 2 rails here, and then we're going to do our dropper on top of the first block we placed, and then a block there with a comparator facing into it. And then now you can, if you're fancy, jump like that and place that observer, place 2 observers there, solid block, and then we're going to start a pattern. This is the pattern you're going to repeat when you want to go up. We got our dropper in. We're going to face an observer down, observer in, iron block, dropper. Observer down, observer in, iron block, dropper. That iron block can be anything, but down, in, block, hopper, or dropper, sorry. Down, in, block, dropper. And then we're going to go into this one eventually, so we got to go up another layer. Block, dropper. And now what I recommend is just 2 hoppers to finish off. So that's our item elevator, but it needs a clock to run it. And the clock is pretty simple. So pick block, break that. We need some torches, block, dropper. And now what I recommend is just 2 hoppers to finish it off. So that's our item elevator, but it needs a clock to run it. And the clock is pretty simple. So pick block, break that. We need some torches, repeaters, solid block, observer, and that's it. So we're going to start with an observer facing the rail. Oh, sorry. So one last thing on the elevator, you place the torch here, then you're done. It's going to click a bunch, but that's all you got left. So now on the clock, you're going to need observers, dust, some building blocks, and some torches, and some repeaters. Start with an observer, and this can be on the opposite side too. I just wanted to make sure I had the outline or the footprint of the previous build clean, but you can fold this underneath. So there's an observer with a torch on its bum. Now a block with a torch into it, and then 2 repeaters on 4 ticks. And then away from here, a repeater on 4 ticks, and then a repeater on 1 tick. And then a block and a dust. And that is your clock. You can put a lever on this to stop it however you want. I do recommend stopping this when you're going to unload it, and then waiting until the lights stop flashing up there before you go away. So that is actually a functional sorter. You just want to put an overflow on coming off of here, and that's it. It's a functional sorter. Okay, let's talk programming now. So let's go up here, and these are the chests that we're going to program out of. I usually like to have a walkway here so I could reprogram later. So to program this, what we're going to do is choose what we want in the category. And I'm just going to choose some random redstone components, because that's something that often needs to be sorted. So you can put however many you want in here. The minimum I would recommend is 10. The reason for that is 3 of them can get caught in this line, and you want a couple of extras for when you unload unintentionally, like a server crash or a restart that you weren't expecting. So what we do is we place these items in here. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a stack, but a stack is extra safe. We place all those items in there, and now this slice is programmed to only accept those items. We can also program this slice next door to be something different. So let's just assume that we want these 3 smeltable items. We're just going to put these in. It does not matter where they go. They can go however you want, as long as you leave blocking items wherever you don't have real items. And it's really important you never, ever, ever put these into your sorter. If you put it into your sorter, it will break. So do not do that. So when you're done, pick them up, put them away, put them someplace else. Now we can grab a shulker with a bunch of random things, set it here, and it should filter through. So this is a test from earlier. When I turn it on, items will go in here, and they will go up through the machine. Overflow will go over here. Before, I did not have redstone dust in my redstone sorter thing. So you'll see items that are overflow go over here. Items that are ores go here. And items that are redstone go here. That's all there is to it. Do make sure you chunk align it. I made that mistake earlier, and you don't want to make it. It's a giant nightmare. So make sure you chunk align it. And the chunk borders can go through between the two modules. So it can go right through here, but they cannot go in the middle of a module or cut through anywhere in this machine. Otherwise it'll break. So chunk align right along the edge of the seam and you'll be fine. So this has been Mad Hatter. I have a couple of other tools in the works. If you want to catch those, subscribe. I really, really, really like item sorters. So if you're into that sort of thing, do subscribe. If you want the structure of files, join the Discord. The link's in the description. You have to accept the rules if you want to download anything. Stick around and talk. I usually, hang out there in chat and text chat, sometimes in voice chat, but hit me up there if you have any questions. Anyway, like, subscribe if this is good for you, and I'm out. Bye.